Check your car, man. That was the message that detonated everything. I opened my security feed, and there it was, my wife tangled up with another man in our bed, broad daylight, a Tuesday afternoon, while I was supposed to be across town working on a kitchen install. My name's Mark Dalton. I'm 42, a custom furniture maker, running a small business out of my garage. It's not flashy, but it's honest work, and it kept my wife, Claire, and our 16-year-old daughter, Zoe, secure. At least it did, until my marriage fell apart in sharp, unforgiving clarity on my laptop screen. "Dad? You look like you saw a ghost," Zoe said as she stepped into the workshop. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Just stared at the screen. "Just work stuff, sweetheart," I managed, slamming the laptop shut with trembling fingers. "Shouldn't you be at practice?" "Coach cancelled. Mom's not home yet and I'm starving. Can you make me a sandwich?" I followed her into the kitchen automatically. That same kitchen where just hours earlier, Claire had brought him. The same bed we'd shared for 15 years. The one Zoe used to crawl into during thunderstorms. The place where I held Claire when life got hard. Suddenly, everything felt colder, like the house itself had shifted. "Earth to Dad," Zoe said, waving a hand in front of me. "You being super weird." "Sorry, kiddo. Just thinking about a job." I grabbed sandwich fixings just to keep my hands busy. "Oh, and Mom texted. She's working late again. Some big office thing." "Working late." "Right. 3 weeks ago, after our neighbor, Mrs. Green, mentioned seeing a strange car out front during the day, I'd installed the cameras. I thought I was protecting my home. Instead, I caught a betrayal in high definition. I built Zoe's sandwich like a machine, while my brain ran circles. The man on the footage was Ethan Cole, Claire's co-worker. I'd met him at company events, a tall, gym rat type who wore pricey cologne and smirked at guys who worked with their hands. "Dad, that's a ridiculous amount of mustard," Zoe said. She was right. I'd emptied half the bottle without noticing. When she went upstairs, I sat alone in the workshop. I've always been good at building things, and taking them apart. That night, it wasn't wooden screws I was planning to dismantle. It was Claire's picture-perfect little world. First, I called my oldest friend, Nate, who runs the Rusty Anchor Bar. "Nate, I need a favor," I said. "Anything." "What's going on?" "If anyone asks, I was at your place from 6 until closing." A pause. "Mark, what's happening?" I caught her. "I need an alibi." "Jesus. Are you serious?" "I've got it on camera. All of it." He exhaled. "All right. I've got you. But don't do anything you can't walk back from." "I'm not hurting anyone," I said. "But I'm making sure everyone knows exactly who she is." Then I called her parents, Helen and Robert Grant. Old family name. Traditional values. Sunday service, potlucks, all of it. "Robert, it's Mark. I need to talk to you and Helen. Tonight." "You sound shaken, son. What's going on?" "I'll explain in person. Anne, she should probably sit down for this." Later that evening, I knocked on their ornate front door, laptop bag slung over my shoulder. Helen opened it, hair perfectly set even at night. "Mark, dear, come in. Robert's in the den." "Coffee?" "No, thank you. You might want to take a seat." We sat surrounded by polished wooden Stern family portraits. "I put up security cameras at home 3 weeks ago," I began. "I thought someone might be trying to break in. I was wrong." I opened the laptop, angled it toward them, and hit play. Helen gasped, clapping a hand over her mouth. Robert's face drained of color, then flushed dark. "Turn it off," Helen whispered. Please, just turn it off. I snapped the laptop shut. There's more. Different days. Different times. Robert stood abruptly, fists balled at his sides. That's our daughter. The woman we raised to keep her vows. I hated to show you that, I said quietly. But you needed to know the truth before I do what comes next. What are you planning, Mark? Helen asked, her voice cracking as tears streamed down her face. I'm going to make sure the whole town knows what Claire did. Her friends. Her co-workers. Everyone at the church. You going to ruin her? Helen asked, stunned. No, I said. She ruined herself. I'm just turning on the lights. Robert nodded, slow and grim. She made her choices. Let her live with them. Including this Ethan guy. The next morning, I set the plan in motion. First, I called my assistant, Jay, and told him I'd be out for a few days, family emergency. Then I rang Claire at the office. Hey, babe, I said, forcing a calm tone. Got a last-minute gig in Brighton. Some tech guy wants a custom dining set. Pays well. I'll be gone until Friday. Oh, she replied. I could hear the fake surprise barely contained. Wow, that's great. We could really use the extra cash. Yeah. I'm leaving this afternoon. Tell Zoe I'll call her when she gets back from school. Of course. Safe travels. As soon as the call ended, I rang our neighbor. Mrs. Green, it's Mark Dalton from next door. Oh hello, dear. Everything all right? Yes, thanks. I'm headed out of town for a few days. Wondered if you could keep an eye on the house. You know, in case anything strange happens. You know I'm always watching. Nothing gets past me, hun. Exactly what I needed. Mrs. Green had sharper instincts than a state trooper. That afternoon, I parked myself at the Rusty Anchor with a beer, waiting for confirmation. Around 4, a text from Claire buzzed in. Ethan's coming by for dinner to go over the Ridgeway project. Don't wait up. Sure. Ridgeway project. At exactly 6, I parked a few blocks away and circled back through the woods behind our place. The same woods Zoe used to play in. The same yard where I built her swing. From behind the old oak tree, where Claire and I had carved our initials years ago, I had a perfect view of our bedroom window. At 7:15, Ethan's silver car pulled into the driveway. He strolled to the door with wine and flowers. My wine. My door. My wife. I dialed the house. Hey, I said when Claire answered. Just wanted to let you know I made it safely. Oh, that's good, she replied. I was just finishing up some paperwork with Ethan. Is there? At our place? Yes, we're going over Ridgeway. You know how involved it is. Well, don't work too hard. Love you. Love you too, she said, and hung up fast. Through the window, I watched him place a hand on her back, leading her upstairs. I waited another half hour, then slipped in through the front door with the spare key. From upstairs came the unmistakable sounds of betrayal. My stomach turned. I opened the hallway closet and grabbed my old bat, an aluminum relic from high school Claire always hated. Then I made one final call. Robert. It's Mark. I need you and Helen to come to the house. Right now. What's happening? She's here. With him. We are on our way. 10 minutes later, they arrived. Robert's expression was stone. Helen looked like she was holding herself together with sheer will. Are you sure? Helen whispered. Listen, I said. The noises from upstairs answered for me. Oh Lord, she murmured. I unlocked the door. After you. We climbed the stairs in silence, 3 people moving together, heavy with purpose. The bedroom door wasn't locked. I turned the knob slowly. They didn't notice us at first, completely tangled up in each other. Ethan was wearing my robe. The one Claire gave me for Christmas. Claire wore nothing but a string of pearls passed down from her grandmother. Well, I said loudly. Ridgway must be a very hands-on account. Claire screamed and lunged for the sheets. Ethan bolted upright, tripped, and crashed into the dresser, sending my watches clattering to the floor. Mark? Claire gasped. You supposed to be in Brighton. Surprise. I brought company. She turned, and froze when she saw her parents. Helen looked like she'd been slapped. Robert's glare could have burned through steel. Mom? Dad? What are you doing here? We came to see what kind of daughter we raised, Robert said, his voice thick with fury. Clearly, we didn't do a very good job. Ethan scrambled to pull on his pants, hopping like a fool. Mr. Grant, Mrs. Grant, this isn't what it looks like. It looks like you're sleeping with my daughter in her husband's bed, wearing his robe, Robert cut in. So tell me, son, what is it supposed to look like? I can explain, Claire said weakly, clutching the sheet to her chest. Go ahead, I said, arms folded as I leaned against the doorway. I'm dying to hear how this is all just a funny misunderstanding. Claire opened her mouth like she might try. Then shut it again. What could she possibly say? That she tripped and fell onto Ethan by accident? You make me sick, Helen whispered, her eyes locked on her daughter. In this house, in that bed, where Zoe was conceived. That landed. Claire's tears started then, but they weren't sorrow. They were the tears of someone caught red-handed and humiliated. Can we all just take a breath? Ethan blurted, fumbling to fasten his pants. We are adults. We can sort this out. Adults? I laughed. Adults don't sneak behind their partner's back. Adults don't sleep with a colleague's wife in his own bed. Adults don't lie about working late while actually working under someone else's wife. Mark, please, Claire said, can we talk about this, alone? No, I snapped. Keeping things private is what let this happen. From here on, everything's out in the open. Ethan made a move for the door. I stepped in his way. Where do you think you're going, sport? This is between you two. I'm leaving. Not a chance. You're right in the middle of this. Take a seat. I don't need to. I picked up the bat I'd left leaning against the wall. I said. Sit. Down. He sat on the edge of my bed, still wearing my robe over his wrinkled pants. Here's how it's going to go, I said, looking between the two of them. First, you're going to tell Helen and Robert how long this has been happening. Mark, Claire mumbled. How long? Robert demanded, voice tight. Claire stared at the floor. Half a year. Half a year, I echoed. 6 months of fake meetings and fake deadlines. 6 months of lies. Every single day. We didn't plan it, Ethan said. It just sort of happened. Happened naturally? Helen snapped. Nothing about this is natural, young man. You don't get the pressure we are under at work. Oh, save the buzzwords, I cut him off. You wanted to get in bed with my wife, and you did. Be man enough to say it. Robert stepped forward. Claire. Look at me. She did, eyes brimming. Your mother and I taught you better. About commitment. About integrity. What happened to those values? I don't know, she whispered. I felt stuck. Life became so routine. Ethan made me feel alive again. Alive? I repeated, my tone flat. Let's see how alive you feel when everyone at your job watches the footage. Ethan went pale. What footage? The cameras I installed, I said. 3 weeks ago. Every touch, every word, every time you two were here. All in HD. Great sound, too. You can't do that, Claire said. That's illegal. Actually, it's my house. I can do exactly that. And I can share that footage with whomever I choose. She was crying now. Think about Zoe. About what this will do to her. I am thinking about Zoe, I said. She deserves better than a mother who lies and brings strange men into her father's house. I'm not a stranger, Ethan protested. I've been to your cookouts. Holiday dinners. Exactly. You ate my food, drank my beer, and then snuck around with my wife. That's worse. Helen shook her head. How could you do this to your family? To your vows? You don't know what it's like living with him, Claire snapped. Always working. Always tired. Always dust and deadlines. Never fun, never spontaneous. So, you went with someone exciting instead? I said. Case closed. Robert sighed. We are leaving. Helen? Wait, I said, holding up my phone. There's more. I pulled up a photo and showed it to Ethan, his car in our driveway, license plate clearly visible. I've been documenting everything. Dates, times, what you brought. 3 weeks of evidence. Enough to prove a pattern. What do you want? Ethan asked. I want you to understand that your life as you know it? It's over. Your girlfriend, Jessica, right? She's going to find out. So will your co-workers. Your gym buddies. Everyone. You bastard, he said. I'm the bastard? I said, almost amused. I'm not the one who's been screwing someone else's wife for 6 months. Claire stood abruptly, wrapping the sheet tighter. Fine. You want a divorce? You've got it. But I won't let you ruin my life over this. Your life? I laughed, cold and sharp. You ruined your life the second you brought him into our bed. I'll see you in court, she said. They'll call this harassment. You can't get away with public shaming. Actually, I can, I said. Everything I've done? Legal. Sharing footage from my own property? Legal. Telling the truth about what I saw? Also legal. Making sure people know exactly who you are? Absolutely legal. Spreading the truth about what I saw? Totally legal. Letting people find out who you really are? Still legal. Ethan stood abruptly. I'm done here. Be my guest, I said, stepping aside. But maybe give your windshield a quick glance before you drive off. He shoved past me and stomped downstairs. Moments later, his furious yelling echoed up from the driveway. What did you do? Claire asked sharply. Nothing illegal, I said evenly. Take a look. She moved to the window and gasped. Across Ethan's windshield, in big red letters, were the words, "A homewrecker." You can't? I just did, I said. And we're just getting started. Robert put an arm around Helen. Let's go, dear. He glanced back at Claire coldly. Don't call us until you figure out how to apologize for this disgrace. After they left, Claire spun toward me, eyes blazing. You think you're so clever, don't you? Like you've won some kind of prize? I didn't win anything, I replied. I just brought the truth into the light. Everything else? That's on you. I'll ruin you in court, she hissed. I'll take half of everything, your shop, your tools, all of it. Good luck, I said. Infidelity still counts in this state. And I've got all the proof I need. She paused, calculating. Her expression shifted. Zoe's going to hate you for this, she said. No, I said. Zoe's going to hate the person who shattered our home. That would be you. I grabbed my coat and turned toward the door. Where are you going? She demanded. Out. I may still live here, but I need some air. I headed to Nolan's bar. Eddie was already waiting, beer in hand. How'd it go? He asked. Better than I imagined. Her parents saw the whole thing. And Ethan? He's probably still out there with a sponge. Damn, Eddie said, nodding with admiration. That took guts. I need another favor. Say the word. I want you to let the truth slip to a few folks. Casually. Nothing direct. Eddie grinned. I can do casual. Nolan's was a gossip hotspot. By the end of the night, half of Hillcrest would know Claire had been sneaking around with some smug coworker. I was halfway through my third beer when the texts started rolling in. The first was from Mrs. Allerton. Saw that young man tearing out of your driveway. Everything all right, dear? I replied, all good now. Thanks for watching out, Mrs. A. The second was Ethan. You going to regret what you did to my car? I replied, send the bill. I'll hang it in the shop. The third was from Claire. We need to talk. Ignored. The fourth came from Zoe. Dad, Mom's crying and won't tell me why. Where are you? That one hit me hard. I called immediately. Hey, kiddo. Dad, what's going on? Mom's locked herself in your room, and there's red paint all over the driveway. I'll be home in 20. We need to talk. Is everything okay? No, sweetheart. But it will be. I drove back with dread pooling in my gut. Zoe was sharp and emotionally mature, but she was still my daughter. Still 16. How do you tell your daughter her mother's been unfaithful? She was waiting in the living room when I walked in. Claire was nowhere in sight. Dad, you're scaring me. What happened? I sat beside her. Zoe, your mom and I are getting divorced. Her face fell. Why? What did you do? I didn't do anything, honey. Your mom, she's been seeing someone else. What do you mean? She's been having an affair. For 6 months. Zoe stared at me, processing. Are you sure? I have it on video. She buried her face in her hands. Who is it? Someone from her office. Doesn't matter. It does matter. I want to know who tore us apart. I sighed. His name's Ethan. You met him at the holiday dinner. Fancy car, always talking about the gym. She was silent a while. Then she said, I hate her. Don't say that. She's still your mom. She's a liar. How could she do this to us? I don't know. People make bad decisions. This wasn't a mistake, Dad. This was cruel. Before I could say more, Claire appeared at the top of the stairs. Zoe, can we please talk? No, Zoe shot back. I don't want to hear anything from you. Please, baby. Don't baby me. You've been lying for half a year. You brought your boyfriend into our house. Claire descended slowly. It's complicated. You don't understand. I understand cheating, Zoe snapped. I understand lies. You wrecked this family because you were bored. That's not fair. Fair? Zoe stood up. You think it's fair that Dad had to install cameras just to catch you? Fair that I find out my mom's a fraud? Zoe, please. I'm going to Grandma and Grandpa's. I can't even look at you. She ran upstairs to pack. Claire turned to me, eyes wild. Mark, help me fix this. Fix this? I said. You can't glue together something you ground into dust. It was a mistake. No. Forgetting your wallet is a mistake. This was a decision. Over and over again. I'll end it with Ethan. I'll do anything. Too late. Zoe came downstairs with her overnight bag. Grandma's on her way, she said flatly. Zoe, please. We're not a family anymore, she said. You made sure of that. I'd love to hear it, I said, folding my arms and leaning in the doorway. Explain how this is all a big mistake. Claire opened her mouth, then shut it. What was she going to say? She'd stumbled into his lap by accident? Helen's voice came out thin. You disgust me, she whispered. Both of you, here, in this house, in that bed. Where our granddaughter was conceived. That landed. Claire's crying wasn't guilt, it was the sound of someone who'd been caught and had nothing but shame left. Ethan fumbled to pull his pants up. Can we all just calm down, he begged. Adults can handle this privately. Adults don't sneak behind their partner's back, I shot back. Adults don't sleep with a coworker in their husband's bedroom. Adults don't lie about working late when they're actually in my house. Mark, please, Claire said. Can we talk in private? No, I said. Privacy is exactly what allowed this. From now on, everything's public. Ethan pushed toward the door. I stepped in front of him. Where do you think you're going, champ? I'm leaving. This is between you and your wife, he snarled. Oh no, I said, reaching for the aluminum bat I'd propped against the wall. You're part of this. Sit down. He sank onto the edge of the bed, the robe, my robe, hanging off his shoulders. The irony wasn't lost on me. First thing, I said, you tell Helen and Robert exactly how long this has been going on. Mark, Claire whispered. How long? Robert demanded, voice tight. Claire stared at the floor. 6 months. 6 months, I repeated slowly. 6 months of late meetings, dinners, team get-togethers. 6 months of lying to my face every day. It just developed, Ethan stammered. It wasn't planned. Developed naturally? Helen snapped. There's nothing natural about betrayal. Look, you don't understand the pressure at work, Ethan began. Spare me the corporate buzz, I cut him off. You slept with my wife because you wanted to. At least have the decency to own it. Robert stepped forward and faced his daughter. We raised you better than this. We taught you commitment, honesty, keeping your word. What happened to those things? I don't know, Claire said, voice tiny. I felt stuck. Life was routine. Ethan made me feel alive. Alive, I echoed. We'll see how alive you feel when your office watches those videos. Ethan went pale. What videos? The cameras I put up 3 weeks ago, I said. They recorded everything. Every kiss, every whisper. Full HD, clear audio. That's illegal, Claire cried. It's my house, I said. I can record on my property. And I can share the footage with anyone I want. Think about Zoe, Claire begged, tears streaking down her face. I am thinking about Zoe, I said. I'm thinking about what she deserves, someone honest, not a parent who brings strangers into our home. I'm not a stranger, Ethan protested. I've been to family barbecues. I've helped with the holidays. Exactly, I said. You ate my food, drank my beer, and then tried to steal my life. That makes it worse. Helen stared at her daughter with a kind of hollowed-out hurt. How could you do this to your family? Your vows? You don't understand what it's like living with him, Claire snapped at me. Always the shop, always sawdust, never spontaneous. So you found someone exciting instead? I said flatly. Problem solved. Robert shook his head. Come on, Helen. We are leaving. Wait, I said, holding up my phone. There's more. I flipped through photos, Ethan's car in our driveway, license plate clear as day. I'd been documenting times, dates, how long he stayed, what he brought with him. 3 weeks of evidence, I told them. A pattern. What do you want? Ethan asked, suddenly small. I want you to know your life, as you know it, is over. Your girlfriend, your co-workers, your gym buddies, they'll all find out. You bastard, Ethan muttered. Me? I laughed, hard. I'm not the one who's been sleeping with someone else's wife for half a year. Claire wrapped the sheet around her and stood. Fine. You want a divorce? You'll get one. But you can't ruin my life. Your life? I said. You ruined your life the second you brought him into our bed. They'll call this harassment, she snapped. You can't publicly humiliate us and get away with it. I can, I said. What I'm doing is legal. Sharing footage from my home, legal. Telling people what I saw, legal. Making sure everyone knows who you are, completely legal. I care that you wrecked our marriage and humiliated your daughter, I said flatly. I'll do anything, Claire pleaded. Therapy, cutting things off with Ethan, whatever it takes. It's too late, I told her. It's not too late. We can fix this. No, Claire. Even if we could, I wouldn't want to. You showed me exactly who you are. And you're not the woman I married. She sobbed, reaching for one last string to pull. Mark, I love you. No, you don't, I said. If you did, none of this would have happened. I ended the call and powered down my phone. Later that evening, Zoe called from her grandparents' house. Dad, Mom showed up here crying, begging Grandma and Grandpa to talk to you. What did they say? Grandpa told her she made her choices and now she has to live with them. Grandma didn't even open the door. How are you holding up, sweetheart? I'm angry. I'm sad. But mostly, I'm proud of you. That hit me hard. Thanks, kiddo. That means more than you know. You gonna be okay? Yeah. We're gonna be just fine. 2 days later, Jim called me. Got good news and bad news. Which do you want first? Bad. Claire's lawyer plans to fight the divorce. But the good news? The guy's clueless. He's claiming the footage is illegal. Is it? Not even close. Your house, your cameras. It's all admissible, and it's brutal for her. What about work? Word is, both Claire and Ethan were fired yesterday. Company policy nailed them. That felt like justice. That video file you made? Nailed it. Fraternizing on company time is a major violation. They are toast. So, they've got no jobs, a divorce battle ahead, and everyone knows what they did. Exactly. That weekend, I got a call from Eddie. Mark, get down here now. He's at the bar. Who? Ethan. Wasted. Running his mouth. I was there in under 10 minutes. Ethan was at the bar, slurring loudly to whoever would listen about how I'd ruined his life over nothing. Nothing? I said, stepping up behind him. 6 months of sneaking around with my wife is nothing? He turned, barely steady. There he is. The guy who ruined me. You're drunk, Ethan. Go home. I don't have a home. You cost me my apartment, my job, my girlfriend. No, Ethan. You did that. You cheated. You lied. You destroyed 2 families. That's on you. You set us up, he hissed. You knew we'd be there. I knew because it had been going on for half a year. You were both so sloppy. The bar fell silent. All eyes were on us. You want the truth, he said, voice rising. Claire said you were boring. In bed, in life, boring. That was enough. I grabbed him by the collar and slammed him into the bar. You want to talk boring? Let's talk about you, a washed-up wannabe who peaked in high school. A guy who preys on married women because he can't keep a real relationship. Let go of me. Let's talk about how you're broke, jobless, living off your parents again, and hated by anyone with half a conscience. I stepped back. He swung, missed, and stumbled into a table. Eddie, call him a cab. He's done. As Ethan was hauled outside, still mumbling threats, I felt something I hadn't felt in months, relief. Claire had lost it all, her job, her child, her dignity. Ethan was in worse shape. Their reckless affair had cost them everything. I stepped out into the crisp night air and breathed deep. Tomorrow, I'd start over. Tonight, I was finally free. Zoe moved back in a few days later. We ate pizza, watched old movies, just like we used to. Dad, she said during a commercial, I'm proud of you for not just rolling over. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. 6 months later, the divorce finalized. I kept the house, got majority custody of Zoe, and walked away with most of the assets. Claire got a small payout and weekends. She moved out of state. Ethan? Back with his folks. I kept the security cameras.